In this lesson, we are going to build on the material on brainstorming, research, and organization of content, and talk about effective ways to chunk your content. Don't worry if you're not sure what this means yet. I'll define it next. So by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to define chunking in the context of online course design, describe why content chunking is important, and describe key strategies for content chunking. So you may have wondered when you clicked on this lesson, what does chunking content even mean? I know it doesn't quite sound like a term one would use to describe something to do with instructional design and creating online courses, but it is the term that is used when we talk about breaking information down into bite-sized pieces that are easier to remember. It also involves combining like material with like material. In other words, when you have brainstormed the basic content for your online course, let's assume these different shapes here. Let's assume that they represent the brainstormed and researched content. And if we are starting to create your content skeleton, you may unknowingly start to chunk your content. You will be thinking things like, oh, this part is similar to this other part over here, so I'll put them both in the same area to make it easier for the learner to understand. So that's like if we were looking at these shapes here, we have red square and another red square over here. We have a blue triangle and a blue triangle. So that's like similar content that we're trying to combine together. Or you may be saying, I could have this part layered with this other part on the same slide because they flow nicely from one to the other. Well, that intuitively is you chunking your content. Conceptually, it may look something like this. So we've combined the similar colors here in our analogy. And this is assuming we chunk the content for these shapes and then put them into a logical sequence, like this. So in this lesson, we are going to talk about a few ways to do this effectively. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we already somewhat covered it in this course already. But chunking content helps to organize it better. So why wouldn't you want to do that? If you don't organize your thoughts well for your online course, it could lead to disengagement of your audience and confusion. So content chunking helps to engage your audience. That is why storyboarding is so important. It helps you see how everything will fit together before you create your actual product, thus saving you time in the long run. Time for another knowledge check question. I'll see you back here in a minute.